What if I told you the most dangerous decision the San Francisco 49ers will make this decade has nothing to do with free agency, the draft, or even Kyle Shanahan, but everything to do with how much they're about to pay Brock Purdy? Because right now, the 49ers aren't just negotiating a contract. They're negotiating their entire identity. And no matter what choice they make, pay him, tag him, or hesitate, there's a version of the future where this team loses leverage, depth, and maybe its Super Bowl window altogether. Let's be honest about something fans don't want to admit. Brock Purdy's rise was perfect. Too perfect. The last pick in the draft, the cheap contract, the stacked roster, the wins, the efficiency stats, the system fit. It all aligned in a way NFL teams dream about. But fairy tales don't last in a salary cap league, and now reality is knocking. Here's the core problem. Brock Purdy is no longer a value quarterback. And the moment he stops being cheap, the 49ers stop being unfair. For the last few seasons, San Francisco has enjoyed an advantage that almost no contender has: elite roster talent paired with quarterback production at a bargain price. That advantage allowed them to stockpile stars, absorb injuries, and paper over roster flaws that would cripple other teams. But once Purdy gets paid like a top-tier quarterback and he will demand it, the math changes instantly. This isn't about whether Brock Purdy is good or bad. That's the wrong debate. The real question is far more uncomfortable. Is Brock Purdy good enough to justify the damage his contract will do to the roster? Because that's what fans ignore. Paying a quarterback is never just paying a quarterback. It's choosing who you lose next. Look at the 49ers core. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. These players don't coexist forever. They coexist because Purdy is cheap. Once he isn't, someone goes. Then someone else. Then depth evaporates. Then injuries hurt more. Then suddenly you're asking your quarterback to do more with less, and that's where truth gets exposed. The front office knows this. Kyle Shanahan knows this. That's why the situation is so tense. Because there are only 3 paths forward, and all of them are risky. Path 1. Pay Brock Purdy top of market money. This is the cleanest path politically. Fans feel validated. The locker room feels stable. The narrative stays positive. But the cost is brutal. Once Purdy's cap number explodes, the 49ers will have to choose between keeping elite weapons or protecting the offensive line. Between depth and star power. Between sustainability and loyalty. And if Purdy isn't a quarterback who can elevate weaker rosters, this path ends in disappointment. Path 2, delay, tag, or short-term leverage. This is the cold analytical route. Extend the value window. Keep flexibility. Force Purdy to prove it again under pressure. But this path creates tension. Quarterbacks don't forget hesitation. Agents don't forget leverage plays. And the moment Purdy feels disrespected, the relationship shifts. That matters more than fans want to admit. Path 3, quiet contingency planning. This is the path no one wants to talk about, but every smart organization considers. Drafting insurance. Monitoring the market. Preparing for a future where the roster stays elite, but the quarterback changes. It doesn't mean Purdy is bad. It means the system might be more valuable than the individual. And that's the elephant in the room. Kyle Shanahan has built one of the most quarterback-friendly environments in football. Motion, spacing, timing, play action, yards after catch. This offense is designed to reduce risk and amplify efficiency. Brock Purdy executes it well. Very well. But the system also protected Jimmy Garoppolo. It elevated Nick Mullins in stretches. It made late-round quarterbacks look functional. That doesn't diminish Purdy, but it complicates his valuation. Because the NFL doesn't pay quarterbacks for efficiency alone. It pays them for problem-solving. Third and long. Protection breakdowns. Injuries around them. Playoff chaos. Can you still win when the script breaks? That's the question that defines contracts. And here's where the trap tightens. If the 49ers pay Purdy like an elite, independent quarterback, but continue to build like he's system-dependent, they're misaligned. If they build like he's elite, but he isn't, the roster collapses. If they build like he's replaceable, but pay him like a star, they lose flexibility and leverage. There is no painless option. Fans want certainty. The NFL rarely offers it. Look around the league. Teams paying quarterbacks top dollar are constantly chasing balance. They lose depth. They lose margin for error. The 49ers, ironically, have been winning because they avoided that trap. But success accelerates payment, and payment accelerates exposure. This is why the next contract isn't about loyalty or reward. It's about risk management. Because once Brock Purdy is paid, there are no excuses left. No more, he's young. No more the roster helps him. No more he's cheap. He becomes the reason you win or the reason you fall short. And that's terrifying for a franchise that has lived on the edge of greatness without sealing it. So when fans say, just pay him, they're oversimplifying a decision that could define the next 5 years. When critics say, he's just a system QB, they ignore the production and leadership. The truth sits in between, and that's the most dangerous place to operate from. Because the middle ground forces hard choices. The 49ers aren't trapped because Brock Purdy is bad. They're trapped because he's good enough to demand elite money, but not so clearly transcendent that the risk disappears. And in the NFL, that's the worst place to be. So here's the real question, the one no contract number can answer. When the roster thins, when injuries hit, when defenses adjust, and when the margin disappears, will Brock Purdy still be the answer, or will the bill finally come due? That decision is coming. And once it's made, there's no rewinding it.